Welcome to episode 16 of the TAAP Show Live podcast. I appreciate y'all tuning in. We got a special guest today. We got my boy Tahir, Hajat. It's going to be a great show today. We got special guest Tahir, Hajat, BBL presenter, my guy. There he is. What's up, brother? How you doing, man? It's good to see you. Yeah, you know me from the beginning. Bro. Hey, appreciate you taking the time out your busy schedule because you a superstar, you a celebrity now, and I'm glad you didn't forget about me. I appreciate you joining the TAAP show, man.
Oh, come on now, brother Deuce, we both really fortunate to being able to pursue our careers, our dreams, our ambitions, and be in a position now where we can have this conversation so many years later.
Yes, man.
After having your debut pro season as a basketball player,
Yeah.
It's actually a real good life moment, should we say, to have this conversation right now with you, brother.
It really is, and I'm glad you said that because I was thinking of people to ask, and I was like, man, my guy Tahir is doing it big, bro. Like we came from humble beginnings, you know what I mean? We were just going to coaching together, you know what I'm saying? We just had a good vibe from that, and then, when I needed to vent during the season, my rookie year, you was always there, and you always said some good, like uplifting stuff to motivate me to carry on throughout the season, and then. I will never forget this for the rest of my life. You took me to Fudge Puppy. And to this day, that's one of the best desserts I've ever had in my life. I don't even is Fudge Puppy still around?
It's still going. It's extended. There was there was a little salon next to it, right?
Yeah.
They bought the salon. They put some seating in there.
Yes.
The Fudge Puppy is still live and kicking, and of course, the quality has not deteriorated. it's still, it's up there, dudes.
Man, that quality, I will never forget it. I remember you told me like you were describing it to me, but I wasn't sure what to expect, or I couldn't really picture it in my head because like we have stuff like that, but we don't have like a warm waffle ice cream and then just whatever topping you wanted on it. But man, that was the most amazing, delicious. Oh man, I could talk about that for days. But
shout out to Fudge Puppy. Time. Yeah, it's still time for you to come back. Well, obviously you're going to be in Leicester, I'm sure, in some in not so far future. And we can definitely make that happen if, the bus can stay for a bit. Or you can take the bus to Fudge Puppy, I'm sure the whole team needs to get involved.
I was about to say.
You might get more W's. Some more W's off the back of a Fudge Puppy.
We need any help we could get, T, so you never know.
Man.
Hey, shout out to my boys, LVC, Douche in the building, leave some funny comments. And then I see my boy, Antonio Williams, checking in. But yeah. Shout out to everybody on the TAAP Show Live podcast. Like I said, we got my main man. We go way back to here, Hajat, BBL presenter, Sky Sports presenter. Man, I'm just happy to see your progression over the years. I'm going to let you get in and tell them about yourself. But yeah, man, me and T go way back, and I'm just happy that we at this level in our lives, and we did the positive way, and we in great position. I was thinking about it, like, really, we some legends, bro. You know what I mean? Like, people know my name in the BBL, and they got real respect for me, and the same for you, bro. Like you on Sky Sports, you on national TV all the time. Like you a big time legend.
Well, listen, for me, when you do something you enjoy, it's easy to be able to kind of express and develop in that situation, and especially with the game of basketball, it's gifted me other opportunities, as you've mentioned. Opportunities to work in other sports and present other sports. It's almost the first thing I say to anybody that I work with is that, hey, basketball has always been my first love, my first passion, but it's given me the opportunity to be involved in whichever scenario it is at that time. Right. And more specifically, you touched upon the coaching of basketball. That's also been a major part in everything that I've been doing. From those days when we didn't have an arena, we were playing out in Loughborough. I used to drive the van, used to load the court in the back of the van, and then unload the court, roll the court out, tape it all, and then make sure it was all game day ready. And then, of course, we had that breakout year. There would have been a little bit of success before you came, but then really, when you came to the club, that's when things started to really hit the road running. You know, we started getting the nicknames, the T-shirts, the Deuce be going in,
Mm-hmm.
the Fearless 5, Neil Watson. Shout out
Mm-hmm.
Neil Watson.
He
He's
just
just
checked in,
joined.
but yeah,
Man just
shout out to
joined. What's
Neil.
up, Neil? Rebuke of the devil right there, man, like Neil. And then, of course, at the time, we had Flight 42, Trayvon Wright in his prime, you
Yeah,
know, throwing
yeah,
down 360s in transition. And,
man.
of course, Loughborough was the place to be at that moment in time.
Big
And
facts,
then,
big facts.
as I said, for everybody in that team, the opportunity just grew and grew and grew. And also, a quick little shout out. I know he might check in at this podcast. I don't know. Derek Rowland, got to shout him out. I'll
Yeah,
never
D
forget about
rolling, my
D
boy.
Rowland. You know, he didn't
Yeah,
have the chance to continue with the Riders, but he was another great character that we had the
yeah, for
opportunity
sure.
to spend some fun times with. That's for sure, without a doubt.
Big facts. I tell people all the time, man, had I not gone to Leicester straight out of college, as my first professional team overseas outside of America, I might not have had a long career because I've seen it happen to a lot of people, and it's just tough going from one country to the next, especially when they don't speak English. But of course, in the UK, they speak English, and you guys, Neil, shout out to my boy Fearless Five, Derek Rowland, D Rowe, what up, man? Trayvon Wright, all the teammates I have, Anthony Rowe, Drew Sullivan were great veterans. And then people like yourself, the community guys like yourself, Ian, rest in peace to Ian Davidson. And you
Yeah,
guys just made
Ian
it
Davidson.
all such, and shout out to Coach Rob Palinastro as well, major respect. And
Well, I guess a quick question off the bat there, really, you know, coming
mm,
into a club with winning culture, without a
mm,
doubt, you've now had the opportunity to kind of bring that winning culture to other clubs. Maybe it hasn't worked out for the club itself, but wherever
mm,
you've been, you've always been like a mainstay and a role model and a leader on that team for do that.
mm.
What is it about that time at the Riders and kind of absorbing the knowledge and the winning culture that helped to improve your career?
I just learned a lot to pay attention to detail. You know what I mean? And then also being a true professional because you know, the time I came up, I learned a lot from my high school coaches, my university coaches, but just learning from Coach Rob, being on time, just how you should play a certain player. I picked up on really, really, really being focused on the small details in order to be successful. And I apply that, not only to like playing different opponents, but also to my game, watching film, seeing what I could do better. And then over time, I just kind of just naturally got better with being a vet. And now I can just speak my mind, put guys in positions. Sometimes I could be a little drill sergeant, but that's how
Yeah, well, listen.
Drew Sullivan was on me, and then
Well,
also Anthony Rowe at times. So,
listen,
you
this is the
know,
thing, and I'll say this about Drew. Like, for some people on the court, he might have come across in the wrong way to you. You might rub people up the wrong way, etc. But when
mhm,
you go through winning teams or you meet people who are at the top of their level, they always have, when it comes to their profession, a level of, an absolute desire and passion to be
mhm,
perfect and
right,
expect nothing less from their teammates or others
right,
involved in that situation. And Drew
right,
was definitely that guy. He would never take any nonsense from anybody because he knew what it took to win. And it might
100%,
grate on other people, as I said, it might have grated on you. But if you didn't understand it, then maybe you didn't really understand the true essence of what it means
right,
to be an elite level competitor, a
mhm,
professional, and a winner overall.
right. Nah, I had luckily I had just came from Savannah State University where I had the most tough coach ever you could possibly think of. Like extreme wasn't the word. It's no words to describe his level of intensity, and he brought it every single day to practice, just like Drew Sullivan did. So at times, Drew could get a little, chippy, and he could like strike you and make you feel it on the inside. Be like, oh, that kind of got to my core, but it was
Yeah,
all to win and to bring the best out you. That's why I appreciate it. And it wasn't like he was on the fence about anything. I really respect people who come in and show their true face and true colors and, not fake about anything. He was real. And not only that, he could back it up on the court. Every time,
100%.
like every game, I pretty much watched him, and that was like the tail end of his career.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, this dude, Drew, is something serious. Because I always thought like it'll be some play during the game. He'll just like we might be losing by 3. He step up and knock down a 3 out of nowhere, or he finished the game with a triple double, or he might catch somebody slipping and dunk on somebody. So I had no problem with Drew getting on my ass or like putting me in place because he backed it up with his words. He had the resume to go along with it, and he was legit. And I wanted to learn from that. I wanted to get to his level, so I had no problem with that.
One of the greatest of all time British Basketball League players, without a doubt.
Big facts.
Shout out Drew. He's a top
Yeah.
man. Big,
Shout
big,
out
big
Drew
guy.
Sullivan. Oh, I can't even forget Barry Lamble too. Shout out to B Lamb. My three vets: Barry Lamble, Anthony Rowe, Drew Sullivan. I really appreciate you guys. I learned a lot from you guys, and you guys have helped pay my career, my BBL career for sure.
Listen, I'll be trying to get Anthony Rowe out of retirement to come and play local league basketball with me. I haven't been able to convince him yet, but you know, I got Andy Thompson. You would know Andy Thompson, of course. He comes and plays in my local league team now. I'll be trying to get all the old guys that, you know, can still move around a bit. They're good enough for local league, more than good enough. But still, Anthony Rowe, one day he will be convinced to come.
He'll be out there.
Yeah,
he'll be out there. You just gotta make sure you his point guard. You get him out there. But no, like I said, I'm glad you joined this show. Just for the people out there, I'm pretty sure they seen your face around, especially if they from the UK or into the British Basketball League. Tell us just quickly about yourself and your background and what you do.
Yeah, sure. Born and raised in Leicester, in a place called Highfields, you know, which is just on the outskirts of the town centre. A very diverse populace in that specific area, and as you know, Leicester's a really diverse place. Mm-hmm. My parents grew up, were born in Africa, and both migrated to the UK when they were young. And I had the opportunity to be brought up here in Leicester with a really strong Muslim, Asian upbringing. But because of the diversity of Leicester, I had so many touch points, whether it was playing with other kids on the street or attending school, etc., to be really educated about different cultures and communities. And you know, for me, that put me in an advantageous position because wherever I went in life, I was never, you know, curious or concerned, or, you know, disrespectful to anybody else's community because I was fortunate to be brought up around it all. And for me, basketball started when I was 7 years old. I was playing at a place called Southfields Drive. It was just a Friday after school club. And some, you know, that after school club now had guys like Will Maynard, who obviously played in the BBL, now Loughborough University men's head coach, and a couple of other kids who'd played in England for Basketball England or England basketball at the time. And that really developed my opportunity by the coach name of Linda Bryan, who was an ex-England player herself. She was also ex-martial artist medalist, so she was also a bit of a drill sergeant, never let you get out of line, but she taught the fundamentals incredibly well and sparked and inspired people to want to pursue it. And I went to a school called Lancaster Boys, and being an all-boys school means that everything's super competitive, and we had an incredible sporting history across all sports. You played every sport and you gave everything a go, but of course basketball was my main passions through those years. I played rugby at quite a high level as well during that time. And it wasn't until I would say year 9 where I really had the opportunity to play National League basketball, maybe under 14s level, represent Leicester, a team called the Leicester Cannons, and play there. And when I finished that school in year 11, I was coaching in year 11. I was coaching the year 7 team. So, but I was in the last year of school, I was coaching the youngest year group, which was kind of how my coaching journey began at that moment in time. And then from there, I had the opportunity to go to a basketball academy. I was kind of blinded by the love of basketball instead of education. And I went to a college called Beecham Basketball Academy. And there's a coach there by the name of Dave Greenaway, who's from Montserrat. He's got some American background in there somewhere. However, I think he was just from Montserrat and had an American accent. But he was a hard-nosed guy, and he was on his coaching journey. And we had some real talent once again, a guy called Nathaniel Weaver, a guy who was part of a streetball team called Streetball Extreme, and his name was Snap, and he could jump out the gym. Morgan Johnson Harris. Krumesh Patel was on my team, obviously the head coach of the Women's British Basketball League.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Riders. Yeah, without a doubt. So he was tough. We had, and just a year before those guys, Faro Ali Hodzic was part of that program as well. And some great players overall. Some players that maybe aren't playing now, but they could definitely be playing now. They were studs. a guy called
Right.
Lucien Oshenbore and a guy called Abraham Horner. Serious players. Both came from Crew Mesh's secondary school.
Mm.
And then, at that time, I started coaching at half-term camps for the Leicester Warriors basketball club with Carl Brown,
Mm-hmm.
who's obviously the first ever British player to play in the Final Fours in the States.
Mm.
And he had a prolific European and British basketball league career, one of the all-time scorers in league history. Gave me the opportunity to be part of their half-term camp coaching groups and a little bit of cash money. And just before that, Dave Harris, another British Basketball League legend, former Leicester Riders player, former England player, played for the Giants, played for the Bullets. He runs a club called Leicester Dynamite at the moment. He also gave me the opportunity to do some coaching as well. And then before I went to university, I had the opportunity to work with the Leicester Riders, and Russell had just kind of started working with the Riders at that time. And a guy called Gareth John, who's a musician now, he actually got me through the door, and then I started working in some schools. And in that same year, I tore my ACL just before, I was going to university. And for
The
me,
worst of the
basketball,
worst.
yeah, for me, basketball at that point in time, like, we never knew anything about the States, how to get to the States. Maybe Dave Greenaway was trying to figure that out at the time. But for me, my highest aspiration was to play at the highest available possible level to me. And tearing your ACL, as a young man is never easy, because you're thinking, I'm never going to play the game again. How bad could this be? And you just kind of got to take it on the chin. So I went to university in Northampton. I messed up college, really badly. I got terrible grades. I got caught up in partying. I got caught up in girls.
So did I.
Yeah, but it's different when you're 6'9". Yeah, Deuce is
Yeah.
different. But in that situation, I had the opportunity then to go to University of Northampton. I did like a little foundation degree module. It got me through the door, and coaching actually gave me that opportunity, because I'd already worked with young people and been in a setting where young people were being developed, and that experience was invaluable. So they let me in with next to no grades and a terrible education history, but they let me in. And
That's all that counts.
yeah, well, I was like 16, 17 stone, probably the weight I am now. And I lost 3 stone in 3 months playing basketball. 3 stone, 3 months, just running suicides. I started the season finishing last on every suicide. And after those 3 months, I was first at the end of those suicides. For those of you who know me, you didn't know I got speed. It's sneaky speed. I got pace, and I got serious game. I'll be telling people this, but back in my day, they didn't record games, right? We just, if you see me play, you see me play.
It's changed a lot since then. I know what you mean.
Correct. Yeah. So, we then at university had an incredibly successful basketball team. We were undefeated at home for 3 years. We got to cup finals, etc. We didn't have no coach in the first year. We then started a national league club. So we played national league, Bucks, and local league club. Basketball was everything to us. And then at the midway point of my second year, there was this rave that was going on in Northampton at a place called Liquid Envy. It was a big club, a big rave. And basically, there was a girl called Nabila who was the girlfriend to one of my teammates, Emmanuel Sani, at that time. And what happened was they'd sold too many tickets. And towards the end of the event, they announced that the coaches from whichever city were leaving. And that also the fire alarm went off. So everybody kind of rushed out, and there was a bit of a stampede. And unfortunately, she was one of few people that got really hurt, but she passed away. She was trampled to death in this stampede. So we had a game literally like 3-4 days afterwards, and we're sitting with coach, and we didn't know if we wanted to play this game. We were in the right state of mind. We said we'd play this game anyway. Maybe we didn't class it as an official league game, but we'd play it just out of respect for her. And I tore my ACL, my other ACL, in that game. So it was a combination of real tough times, and obviously nothing in comparison to losing a life, losing a friend. But it was the dark days. And, for me, university was going okay, but I wasn't really settling into independent living at that moment in time. And, it was a really tough time for me overall. But, once again, kind of bounced back from that, kind of got an operation, got healthy, started to put in some more work, getting little jobs here and there, working alongside studying. And then somehow I came out of university with a certificate of higher education. Not a degree, not a full degree, because clearly, like everything else in life was more important to me at that time. The
Right.
partying, the girls, the friends, the
Yeah.
basketball.
Yeah.
And then, I came back to Leicester and I started stacking shelves at Marks and Spencer's. You'll know what Marks and Spencer's is. Some of the American followers that you have, they won't know what Marks and Spencer's is. I used
I
to do
definitely know. I've been over here long enough, but it's like a high end retail, not even retail, but a
correct.
grocery store. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I started doing morning shifts there, and when the food truck comes in at 6 a.m. in the morning, unloading that and being part of the operations in the back house. And then a lady called Liz Jennings, who might throw back to you, Liz, from the community team at the Leicester
Yeah, I
Riders.
remember that. I
She
remember
reached
that.
out to me off the back of coaching for the Leicester Warriors. She worked there previously, and I coached the women's team for 2 years in Northampton. And she, asked if I wanted to be a community coach.
Mm.
There was less money than stacking shelves at M&S. It
Mm-hmm.
was more hours than working at M&S. But
Mm-hmm.
of course, my dumb ass had to say yes because it's basketball. So I ended up doing that, became part of the Leicester Riders Foundation community team. And I was buzzing with enthusiasm to be part of that and be in schools and working with young people and trying to develop them. We were still playing at John Sanford in them days, and I kind of think that was coming towards the end of that season before we went to Loughborough the next year. And I think that was the next year when you signed. Was the
Mm.
2014-15 season?
It was a 2013-14 season,
Yeah,
so
okay, so yeah,
September.
that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so in
yeah,
September
that's
I'll be officially on 10 years. So yeah.
correct. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
then I started doing the community work there, getting involved in community project management, and then I started or was gifted the opportunity to start the junior academy that the Riders now has really got going. Not the Charnwood side, the all Leicester based young people and juniors. For me, that was really important to me. That for all these years, Leicester Riders, I'd watched them as a child. My parents used to take me to games. I'd have family friends used to play. Hilroy Thomas, shout out.
Mm-hmm.
That played Carl Brown, all these guys. And there wasn't a junior club under the Leicester Riders banner. And for me, that was sacrilege. Like, our professional team doesn't have a junior program. Carl
Mm-hmm.
Brown had his program. Dave Harris had his program. And for me, I had good relationships with both of them. So I felt like I was in a unique position to be able to start something and be respectful of both of their programs. I wasn't
Right.
out here to poach any players. I wasn't out here to step on anyone's toes. We'll have to find new kids from somewhere, develop them, and help develop them this program overall. So that was kind of a real project that I had the opportunity to work on with some great people over the years. I've gone from 2 teams all the way now. It's got like 13 teams, 150 kids. They're playing out the arena. So that was a superb opportunity to be part of that program. And at the same time, I developed my community project management skills, working with young offenders, working with young people talking about hate crime, extremism, terrorism, and then also running some late night sessions. You ever come with me to a late night session? We had
I
one in
think I
Beaumont
did. I
Leeds, and
think I did. It
it
was
was
like
like 9 till
yeah.
10:45
I
at
was just
night.
about to say 9 to 10.
It
Yes, I definitely did. I definitely did.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then we'd
Those
go to
those were
those
good sessions
sessions.
too, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, it was like you'd do a bit of structured stuff, like a little bit, just like help structure their pickup or whatever. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And we used to have 30, 40 kids coming to the gym. It was a free
Mm.
session. Some of those young people had some real issues
That's
that
why I thought it
actually,
was great because I didn't mean to cut you off,
yeah, no, go ahead. Yeah.
but yeah, my phone messed up. But I
No,
thought
so
it was
yeah.
a great session because it was totally free. And
Yeah.
I learned quickly that sports halls and gyms, you have to rent those out in the UK. What you kind of do in the US, but it's kind of like somebody that knows somebody where you can pretty much get into a basketball court at any time. You know what I mean? So I thought that was a great gesture to have them for free. And then I'm not sure if it was on a Friday night
Yeah,
the
Friday night.
weekend.
Yeah,
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 that's what I
Friday.
thought. But it's also a great job to keep the kids off the streets. You know what I mean? Because of course,
Without a
kids
doubt.
gonna be kids, but a Friday night, playing an hour and a half of basketball, that's gonna tire you out, and most likely you're gonna go home and go to sleep instead of just staying out getting in trouble. So that was a great thing.
Well, that's the thing. And, for whatever reason, that 9 to 11 o'clock at night they're with us, that means they're not out there doing something stupid or being
Exactly.
enticed being enticed to do something like that, you know?
Exactly.
And then, so obviously that was my kind of like coaching journey up until, I don't know, what year was it last year? 2022, kind of finished up with the Riders in like February, January time, 2022. And then I got asked to host games in that first season that you were playing, the first opportunity to host the games.
Yeah.
And I just loved talking about basketball, and I could just bring the hype. For me, as we've going back to this is the important reason why I mentioned at the beginning, being from a diverse community meant that I understood different cultures and how they related to basketball, and things and phrases that were cool, you know, that were exciting, that provided entertainment for the fans. And then that's why, you know, we had the nicknames Juice be going in, Fearless number 5, you know what I mean? And we had the, you know, Tyler Bernardini was Italian stallion, or Captain Tyler Bernardini, all these
Shout
guys.
out to the wild Tyler Bernardini, my boy. What shout out to him. Yeah,
Tyler
for sure.
Bernardini.
Definitely.
And then, and then that kind of rolled into an opportunity to support a British Basketball League finals. It was in Birmingham. I was doing the women's game, and I hosted that. Then I hosted like a couple of events that were based in Leicester, like the EABL finals, and then more BBL finals. And then I had the opportunity to work with Matchroom Multisport, an event called the World Cup of Gymnastics, which, you know, they heard about me from the British Basketball League.
Right.
And then from that, you know, I actually did that event, 22,000 people over the space of 2 sessions in one day at the O2 Arena.
Wow.
They were supposed to have another MC there to work alongside me. And what happened was that MC couldn't make it. They asked for another guy. He couldn't make it. So then it just ended up being me by myself. And Barry Hearn was there, the guy who runs Matchroom Sport. And so he's there, Barry Hearn. I'm looking up in the crowd for, this is my chance. I've got to go for the big one here. So I go up and I run there and I said, let's get ready to rumble, like Bruce Buffer style, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously, like, I do that, and then the security guard pulls me up and goes, you do know that's a £10,000 fine if you do that. It's a copyrighted phrase. And I was like, oh, man, I didn't know anything about it. But you'll get away with it on this occasion because it's gymnastics and it's Matchroom Multisport. But, you know, I just wanted to give it a go. And from there, Matchroom gave me the opportunity to work on World Championship of Ping Pong, 10-pin bowling, the Weber Cup, then on some pool events, the Moscone Cup. And then it just kind of rolled from there.
Right.
And it was a great moment for me to kind of expand into this new career, still whilst coaching basketball at the same time, and having that opportunity to do so. And to this point now, and obviously leaving the Riders in 2022, it was the lockdown year. You know, things for me, especially towards the end of that time of the Riders, one day I'll get to talk about, you know, really what was happening to me as a person, because I'm only really coming to terms with it, how as an individual, how I felt at that time. But one thing I have identified now is that towards my end of the time at the Riders, I was definitely depressed. And I had some serious mental health issues that I was battling with myself, but not that I knew it, just because of the way, how cyclical things have become. Leaving the Riders, got a new job as a community, as a gateway manager for the Kickstart scheme, and with a charity called the Mighty Creatives, a creative cultural industry charity, and that opened the doors. And then events came back, and I never looked back. We had the Commonwealth Games, we had Rugby League World Cup, all the BBL games were back, Leicester City, you know, all of these things started happening, and now I'm fully freelance as a sports and events host. So, you know, that's my story, really, of how I got here. I'm missing a lot of detail. And there's some stories that we won't tell. That's right, Juice. There's some stories we can't be telling.
We ain't gotta tell
podcast.
everybody on the TAAP Show podcast. I just want you really to inspire the people, because, man, that's why I had to have you on here, because the purpose of this show is just uplifting basketball players or anybody who likes basketball, because there's so many jobs just outside of basketball. You know what I mean? You could be a presenter, you could be, you know, a statistician, you could do stuff with social media nowadays, which wasn't even available.
Yeah, it wasn't a thing.
About 10 years ago.
Happen.
Exactly.
Made that happen. Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm just so glad you shared your story, because it's a true, like, never give up story. You know what I mean? And then also you just got to keep rolling with the punches of life sometimes. You know what I mean? Even so, it's a lot of people who don't really have a vision or a direction or, you know, a career choice they have in their mind right now. But if you just keep on connecting with people, building relationships, just staying curious, you might find a career path that just stumbles upon you like yourself. And then, not to say you just got it luckily, you definitely had to put in the work and you went through trials and tribulations to get here, but you never gave up, you know what I mean? And you kept getting better and better with time, and that's just totally amazing. And shout out to all those, we're going to call them pioneers, those basketball pioneers, those coaches that first got you into basketball, those coaches that gave you an opportunity. We're going to give a shout out to the Leicester Riders for giving you an opportunity, and just anybody that just paid the way. Because like you said, it's not that easy getting into basketball here in the UK. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that like it, but it's hard to learn properly from a good coach. That's for one. And then you don't really see too much of it on TV. They're doing a better job of it now, getting it on Sky Sports, BT Sport, and YouTube. But, you know, you had to really have a strong passion for basketball to really thrive.
It's in the UK, because there was nothing available. If you ain't going to a game live, you weren't watching it. You know, they had their heydays in the 80s or the early 90s or whatever. I was born in the early 90s. By the time I started watching basketball, that wasn't on TV. Riders had this thing called Riders TV on their website where you could kind of watch some of the highlights or whatever, but you could not watch live basketball on TV. And my family definitely wasn't in a position to be able to afford Sky Sports to be able to watch NBA or do any of that kind of stuff. You know, so for me, like, you know, now is a time more than ever that young people can be inspired by basketball. And I guess the access to it, because of the amount of access to it, we got to understand, like, the culture has changed. Popular culture now is basketball culture. And that's purely because basketball has had the opportunity to be in the mainstream media and be in front of young people's in their phones, on their TikTok, whatever it is, in the magazines or wherever it is that they're catching their information. You know, without that opportunity, people wouldn't have that opportunity to be inspired and go on to now want to pursue something to be involved in basketball. I've got a big shout out to guys like Hoops Fix, Ball Out UK, Midnight Madness, all of these kind of competitions over the years that had helped to kind of keep the culture going for young people. And then when it came to the forefront, we did have social media, etc., they could really explode and take off. And all of these, you know, all of these young people now that are hooping have a real platform to go on and build a professional career out there, and that's for sure. And then now we have opportunities for man like Deuce to jump on the IG live, you know what I mean? Drop a little podcast for himself, you know what I mean? And now, you know, that's big time, because I'm guessing, like, you're coming towards, I'm not saying you're coming towards the end of your career anytime soon, but you are definitely you're in the next stage of your career. You're coming towards the latter stage of your career, and you got to be thinking about, what is it that I want to do next? You know, and in basketball terms, as a professional basketball player, it's better to start thinking about, you know, in the last 3-4 years of your career, what can I do now that by the time I leave this game, something's going to be there for me? So that stage of, you know, I would say that you come into that stage of your career, because I know you're not young as you used to be, Deuce, yeah?
I know. I'm getting dunked on left and right by these young boys, man.
But what's next? What are your next thoughts? Like, what is it that's going to be next for you? What are you thinking about could be your next career?
I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's the whole purpose of this whole TAAP show, TAAP Athletics, or over all social media platforms, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. It's because, for one, my family is here in Plymouth. So basically, you know, I'm transitioning from living in the US to living in the UK now, and I'm quite fine with that. I have a beautiful family. I got all the love I need. I'm really blessed, you know what I mean? But also, I've been here, like you said, I started my career here. I played for several different teams. I've achieved a lot in this league, and I've seen the public perception of basketball grow. So what I want to do now, since I'm living here, I just want to expand the British Basketball League, make it a top-level league, not just in Europe, but around the world, because you see there's more and more guys, you know, you see young talent that's going to G League or Australia and then going to the NBA, and like the Australian league is getting a lot of notoriety from, you know, producing NBA talent. And I feel like this could be a great launching pad if it's directed in the right way from like BBL to the NBA. And I just want to see this league, thrive and really basketball get the respect it deserves. Because, like I said, it's so many people that like basketball here, but for some reason, I don't know, they're doing a better job of it. But the media perception or the news outlets, they don't really promote it like that. You know what I
Correct.
mean?
It's about having individuals. It's this experience. Once again, we just spoke about, like, people being involved in basketball and then moving on to something else, taking the skills and knowledge they learned from the game.
Right.
Well, we need those people who are taking the skills and knowledge learned from the game to be in positions where they're actually in a media outlet, or they're the head of the Times newspaper, or they're the head of the BBC,
Exactly.
and they're in those positions. For example, Amelia, I can't remember her second name at this moment in time. I think it's Hayward. I believe that's the second name. I think it might not be. It might be. I'm not. Excuse me if I'm wrong. She obviously has helped now to get the NBA back on the BBC, which has been done recently as well. And it's about, as I said, having those positions, people in those positions of power, to be able to make influence decisions to support the sport of basketball, knowing the power that it harnesses and the level of participation that the sport has.
Right.
The most highly participated sport for young people after football is basketball as a team sport.
Right.
So, like, there's so many millions, or we can say, of basketball enthusiasts out there. They need somewhere to kind of have that opportunity to let it flow.
Yeah, and you said also what's next for my career. So, like, I'm using social media to just hype up the British Basketball League and just also, like, just build an interest in, like, who is this guy? Like, he's putting out all these, like, how to be a good post player and how to dribble a basketball. And once they draw interest and, like, get bought into my ideas and what I want to do, they start learning about me and they understand, oh, he's a player in the British Basketball League. Now they take interest in the British Basketball League, the teams, the players, and that's how you grow interest. So I'm just trying to make it fun and exciting for the youth to just, of course, in the States we playing basketball, but people all around the world, but more specifically people in England, people in the UK, to get behind basketball, make it easier for them, and then motivate the youth to start getting out there and playing basketball and really working on their skills. Because once the youth really get to an elite level, which there's already a lot of players here on an elite level, but once it gets to the point where you guys can, like, get to elite, where you guys are playing in World Cups and making the Olympics on a regular, man, I think the sky's the limit. You know what I mean?
I don't think we're too far. I don't think we're too far off it, man.
No,
you only got to look at
not.
social media. This past couple of weeks, we're seeing all first teams announced. Defensive players, six mans of all these college outlets, and there's a lot of British players in those conversations.
Yes.
And then we just had that GB game against Serbia, where we had a bunch of young players, Quinn Ellis, Amin Adamu in there as well. These guys have definitely, are a kind of example that the system is working in some ways, obviously can be improved heavily, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel, that we've got talent being produced.
100%.
They can play.
100%.
Big shout out to Marvin, who said we need to work on the grassroots level. And he's 100%. Yeah, correct. Because, that is an important thing. Interestingly enough, there's going to be, I don't really know how confidential this is, but there's going to be a program launched in London very soon about developing coaches. More information about that. You'll hear about it Tuesday.
You heard that live on the TAAP Show Live podcast.
Yeah,
you heard that live.
Yeah. There's going to be something next Tuesday, so make sure you keep your ears out for that. But also about developing coaches in basketball. There's going to be something there for that. Then also stay locked in. This summer is going to be absolutely massive. The Hoopspeaks All-Star Classic is going to be big and bigger and better this year. So that's going to be dope, with some, of course, connections with some major brands. Don't want to ruin it too much. So we've got Ball Out UK, 3x3 basketball.
Shout the Ball Out.
And hey, listen, you need to be playing Ball Out this year, brother.
I know.
You
listen,
know what? You're going home to the States. You're here, fam.
Listen,
you
bro.
might as well be hooping 3x3 Ball Out UK, my brother.
You didn't even let me finish, my brother. I wanted to give Hoops Fix and just the whole UK for having a phenomenal basketball summer this past year. 2022, the summer of 2022, because I was here. I was just, trying to be with my
Big
family, and
dad.
I
Big
was
dad.
doing coaching for the Patriots as well as I'm a basketball trainer. But before I get into my basketball training, I just want to say, man, the floating court in the Thames River,
Woo.
genius.
Yeah.
And that it was a great partnership with Hennessy. The whole Hoops Fix Pro-Am, genius. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I just
is that a reveal? You want to see a pro this year as
yeah,
well?
and that
Jeez.
too. And then the Clapham Court 3-on-3 in London, genius, great idea. And they brought in Jeremy Sohan. So like, you know, shout out to Who Fix, shout out to British
And
Basketball
I,
League.
and I'll tell you something about that, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy Sohan, he came to that event off the back of, Sam having that conversation with him, not off the back of the NBA actually putting him onto that. Do you know what I mean? So it was like a real thing that he wants to support a British basketball coach. He came off his own back, and then the NBA had to react to the fact that he was going to come to Clapham Court that year. But I 100% agree with what you're saying, Bruce.
No, but no, like I said, I want to give a shout out to everybody that's doing their best to really uplift British basketball. I'm behind it. I want to be a part of it, and I just want to assist it. And then just talk about what I'm trying to do with this whole TAAP athletics thing. I'm trying to build attention towards me being a basketball trainer because like you said, I'm on the tail end of my career. I still got a little juice in me. You know,
Of course.
I'm an old head,
Look,
but I can still get down with the best. Yeah.
Don't lie, Deuce. We know who's got the highest shooting percentage in the country. We know.
Hey, I'm number one. I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm number one in the field goal percentage this season. So, you know what I mean? I'm still doing my thing.
With all them Lions, all them NBA caliber talents, who's the man highest field goal percentage? Give it to Deuce in the paint.
Hey, man.
But don't give it to him on the free throw line. Don't give him to the free throw line.
Don't foul me. Don't foul me. But, yeah, I'm a bucket inside the paint. But, no, I enjoy, like, I thought about it, like, what do I really want to do? And, like, really the avenue of social media has really opened up things because now you just blow up and make it, you know, much easier than when just, you know, you really having to go up to an office and really wait on somebody and have a meeting with them and talk about your ideas and what you want to do. But no, I thought about, like, do I want to be a basketball coach? And I'm like, I want to be around the game of basketball, but I don't have patience to deal with like 15 different personalities. And like, I see myself coaching on a teenage to like young university level. And then, you know, with teenagers and young adults, man, there's a lot going on. Sometimes there's more than basketball going on. And I'm like, I can't deal with 15 people. And I just get so frustrated when I tell people to do something and they don't listen, or, you know, it's not paying off. The results ain't paying off right away. So I was like, nah, I can't do a basketball coach. But I was like, I would love to be a basketball trainer because I see people like just some famous ones like Chris Brickley over in New York. There's a guy named Lethal Shooter who trains like NBA guys. And I was like, you know what? That seems dope. You know what I mean? Because for me, I want to coach kids not coach kids, but train kids who want to be elite and make the jump to maybe a pro level or at least Division I basketball, Division II basketball over the state. So, and I get a lot of joy from seeing the kids like really interpret what I say and then apply it to, you know, their game. And I love seeing that progression. You know what I mean? So
Marv's just kind of really giving us a condensed version of that in the sense that you need a middle mentor to bridge the gap between the two. You've been the player. You've seen what it's like, the elite level coaches, and you need to help somebody understand what it's like to meet in the middle. And I wish there was that person between players and referees. That would be great as well.
Oh, boy, don't get me started on the referees. Don't let me get, oh my God. You struck a chord on that one. But yeah, like one thing I will say about England and the whole UK, there's a great job. There's a lot of, there's a lot of adults who have given back time and effort to teaching kids the right way to play basketball. And I really appreciate that. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't say it's saturated, but there's so many coaches. There's not a lot of trainers. You know what I mean? The teacher about the small details, talking like, you know, pound the basketball with your left hand when you're on the left-hand side. Because that's, you know, good. It's great playing team basketball and learning from a great coach. But sometimes that one-to-one, that intimate level, you know what I mean? I feel like that's lacking in the
It's
UK,
missed out. Well,
especially from a professional basketball player. So I want to
well,
get
you
back
know,
through being a basketball trainer as a professional, you know?
without a doubt. And as you said, there's more of a market here in the UK for the specific reason of we talked about facility issues, access to facility, all of these kind of challenges. You know, especially when I was coaching at the academy, we'd have academy players turn up for 2 practices a week. Those practices an hour and a half, 15 kids in each of those practices. You know, we've got to kind of go through a curriculum of coaching. You've got to give them insight into everything. Well, you can't hold their hand. It's not, you know, the States or in Europe, some places where you go on 4 or 5 times a week, you got a morning practice, and an opportunity, and your practices are 2 hours long or whatever the situation is, to give them as much information as possible. They need that individual opportunity, right? You can work on this. This is how you're going to work on that skill. So then when coach goes to the game, let's give a specific skill, specifically, let's say, for example, shooting off a screen. Okay, so you're going to have the opportunity in training to learn about the basic actions of how you get into a situation, how you shoot off a screen, the basic fundamentals of brushing shoulders and ready to receive the ball in a position, etc. And you might get a couple of reps, but you're only really going to repetition, and learn the finer details of shooting off a screen and the different types of scoring off a screen if you have a personal trainer, you know, without the amount of coaching required by your head coach at that time. And it's the individual attention, as mentioned. The 15 kids, you know, you've got to work on all 15 of those kids. You give it 1 point here, but you can't sit down for one kid and give them a whole an hour and a half of your attention. That's what they need, you know, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours a week of someone's attention to give them that knowledge and give them that support and reinforce it.
Right, and I'm glad you said, like, the amount of times you practice during a week for a UK kid, you know what I mean? Because, like you said, you have to rent out sports halls. It's not cheap. It can get quite pricey, and it's, you know, other sports that want to use the sports hall as well. So it's competitive getting in the gym. It's hard. It's not as easy as it is in the States. And, you know, 2 times a week for an hour, it's just not enough for a kid that just want to go to an elite level. You still make it happen, but that's why I say that's why I'm there. Because in the States, you can just maybe get away with just playing team basketball and learning from your coach and the team practices, you know what I mean? Because there we practicing from even in middle school, which is from like the ages from 10 to 13, we practicing every day. I remember in middle school, Monday through Friday, week by week by week until the season's over, we practicing. You know what I mean? It's for about 2 hours as well. It's not just an hour and a half. So we get that much more.
Exactly. And also in the States, the ability to go to the park. I mean, some of the Savannah State, I mean, your side's Atlanta. Shout out little 5 points.
Little
5 points.
shout out to
little 5
ATL,
points.
my hometown, baby.
And you know, the weather's nice there, man. You can go to a court and you can just go shoot, and you can get your reps in that way. You can put into practice. When it's cold, it's snowing outside right now in Leicester. It's March. It's cold. It's freezing. You can go outside, and the nitty gritty might go outside, but you might slip. The hoop might be hanging off. The backboard might be falling off because it's made out of chipboard or something like that. You know, so it's you know, that opportunity as well. And look, as you said, we're all here to try and highlight the challenges, but more importantly, what makes people different. And this is what I like to think is one of my more secrets, one of my more important secrets to success really is to be the problem solver and be the person that tries to connect the dots and take it to the next level. That's the real secret to success. Because you can't
that's why you easily fell into that presenter job, and that's why you got awarded the microphone when I first came, because you got a great way with words, bro. You say it perfectly. It's just like you got to fill in the in-between and like problem solve, you know what I mean? So, you know, I want to help the next kid be the next Jeremy Sohan from out here, you know what I mean?
Of course, without
I salute Jeremy Sohan. The door's wide open. There's no excuses now. You got guys in the NBA, you feel me? So, and then you have guys before Jeremy Sohan to go to the NBA from the UK. So it's definitely, I just want to see it more of a higher amount of people do it, and yeah, that's what I'm gonna do, and just gonna stay the course, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I've got only a couple more things I want to talk about before I very quickly, because I've got to go. I've got to get my dinner ready tonight. I've got the in-laws coming over. I'm cooking an all-Italian dinner. You know what I mean? It's going to be shout out from Francesca. She said to say hello to you as well.
I love y'all family, man. I love y'all family. Yeah.
So one quick one is, firstly, has your cooking improved? Because I remember as riders, man, the Jelson Holmes days, you'd be cooking up some wings, and I'd be like, right, he's done the bare minimum. The chicken is probably cooked. He's probably cooked. He's probably
Uh,
put seasoning on there, but that shit still look alive. It still
oh
looks like it's ready
man.
to fly off the plate. You
See,
know.
that's why you are a good friend of mine, man. I forgot all about that. Me struggling to cook my first year
Yeah,
overseas, man. My cooking has come a long way since
yeah.
then, man. I'm with my partner now. I give her credit. She does most of the cooking. But yeah, my birds they don't wiggle no more. You know, they
They
all
don't
the
move.
way cooked.
They
You
don't
know what I
move.
mean? I learned the right amount of seasoning. I got a little chicken recipe. You know what I mean? Like, and it's funny you say that because my girl, you know, a thing in Atlanta, we love hot wings. That's our culture. You know what I mean? Like lemon pepper hot, lemon pepper mild, like just all the flavors. We eat wings breakfast, lunch, and dinner, Monday through Sunday. You know what I mean? So my lady was amazed with how much I love wings and how much I eat them. You know what I mean? And she never seen anybody cook as much wings as much as me. But luckily for me, she don't like, you know, the bone and chicken and all that. Shut up, Blue Man. I can't cook. I can't cook, Blue Man. Don't
I'm
try to bust
glad
me out, Blue Man.
somebody.
Don't do that.
I'm glad he's come back with a recent evidence to confirm where his current state of
Hey,
cooking is
listen, man.
at.
I've
Yes,
regressed
Boo
since
man, we
2000.
hear you.
I've regressed a lot since 2013, but yeah, man, it's not as bad as it used to be. And then if I get a chance to come up to Leicester, bro, I put my cooking skills to the test, man.
Okay. I mean, I'm not sure I'm gonna let you do that, but I will. You know,
I'll
out of
just serve it to
courtesy, I
you. I
might give you.
won't serve it to
I'll
your
give.
beautiful daughters and
No,
nothing like
forget.
that. I just serve it
We
to you.
going fudge puppy. We going fudge puppy. Let's be real. We going fudge puppy. Let's just go
I'm with
fudge
that. Let's go
puppy.
to Fudge Puppy
Yeah.
instead. Let's do
And
that.
then
Yeah.
the last one is like, I don't know if anybody else in the world,
I know
definitely
what you're
your
about to say.
teammates have. Yeah, I know. No, you don't know. I don't think you know. Your feet, bro. How are your feet doing at this moment in time, man? Those feet, bro. Those
Hey,
big
I'm
ass
glad Blue
feet.
Man is on the. I'm glad Blue Man
Because
is on the.
and also I mean, your game is pretty. Your feet ain't so pretty. I remember those
Hey,
days. They're all beat up, and now you've had nearly 10 years as a professional. I hate to think what they look like now, Deuce. I hate to think about it. Damn.
hey, T, this is becoming one of my favorite podcasts, bro. This is one of the funniest podcasts. My feet are horrible. They worse than what you saw. You can ask Boo Man. I don't know if Boo Man on live, but they are
Oh,
10 times worse, T.
oh
These feet done
man.
been through hell and back, T. You already know how they was. I've been tripping people left and right with my feet. Last year, your boy
Yeah.
Nelson Henry.
Oh.
Listen. We in the playoffs, right? We battling Leicester Riders, right? The first, what was it? I don't even think it was the playoffs. I think it was like a couple weeks before the playoffs, and we had played Leicester. Your boy Nelson Henry, credit to him, he always played me hard. You know what I mean? I took a jump shot, and I've done this against other people. I did it against Andy Thompson. I did it against Darius Defoe. But when they Boom Man said I got Tarzan feet. Chill out. but no, I took a jump shot against Nelson Henry, and he tried to close out. I wouldn't say it was nothing dirty, but he got up under me, and I don't know what happened, but my middle toe, I felt the pop. And to this day, I'm not gonna show you. I'm not gonna do the people like that. They might pass out. They might lose their lunch. I don't want to do the common
Oh
puppet
man.
like that. But as of right now, I'm looking down at my feet right now. I got a middle toe hanging over the rest of my toes. So imagine how my toes look before. Imagine how they look beforehand.
Oh.
Imagine with an overlapping toe now, T. I'm gonna have to show you the next time I show you. But man, I ain't gonna flex. They worse than they were before, bro. They worse.
Oh, bro. Oh, bro. Oh,
But I
man.
salute to
That's funny.
myself though, because with the feet
You
I have,
soldiered that, man.
I
You
shouldn't be able to
didn't see
move
a
the way
doctor
I move.
about that, bro. You didn't see a doctor about that toe. You need to see a doctor about that
Listen,
toe,
after
bro.
my career, we talked about what I'm doing after my career. I'm getting these things fixed. I'm
Yeah.
getting these things. I'm getting the full works, bro. I'm having surgery. I'm having maintenance. I'm doing full repair on everything. But yeah, you are
Oh
funny.
man.
You're right. I thought you were gonna say something about me pulling up in the suit to the first day of practice, but nah, my
No,
feet.
no. I listen. That's for smart, professional. That should happen.
Yeah.
You know
And
what I
then
mean?
I will say this. See, when I finally get fed up with the social media grind, because it's very tough posting
Yeah.
every day and staying on top of everything, I'm just gonna show my feet. That's what's gonna make me go viral. I got worse feet than Shaq. Shaq, if you seen this podcast, let's have a challenge. My feet look 10 times worse than yours, and I guarantee the public will agree. And I'm gonna find a way to have a foot challenge with
Listen,
Shaq.
man. There's money out there, man. TikTok Live, Deuce's feet.
Yes, I
TikTok
know.
Live.
I know. I'm just gonna
My
have a
feet is the
channel
worst
where
in
I
the
just show
world.
my feet.
Boom.
Yeah,
And you got them guys who are just like, yeah, give me 5 roses and then I'll show my feet. 6, I got the
yeah.
worst feet in the
Big
world. Give me
facts.
a jet plane before I do my
That's gonna
Deuce.
make me a millionaire, T. Just watch. I'm telling you. But look, I ain't gonna hold
Ah,
you
man.
too much longer, man. I just
Ah.
got 2 questions for you. The first one is, what has been your, highlight moment, your best moment of your career, whether it be presenting or coaching or doing whatever. And then you can talk about more than one if you need to.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, there's a lot of basketball heads, young hoopers, young people that want to be successful. What would you say to that young generation who want to be successful in life? What kind of advice would you give to them? So what was your best moment in your career, and what advice would you give to a young person
I'll
who wants to
finish
be
with
successful?
the best moment last, and then we'll go with the young people first. And the young people thing is really clear. You now have more access to resource than anybody ever had in the history of all of our lives. So, the opportunity to access those resources is incredible. The world is at your fingertips. So if you are curious, you need to go out there and research and understand and try and find out more about what it is you're passionate about. I wish that I kind of understood that premise, because it works in all aspects. From an educational perspective, I wish I understood that premise more. Is that not, you don't just get taught what you're taught in your lessons, that you have to then go out, understand, read more about it, find out more to be able to achieve a grade that's potentially going to make you look more successful on paper. And then secondly is you've got to be, and this is the biggest thing out of it all, is time management and prioritizing your life, right? And it's not easy, because that prioritization will always change over your lifetime. But the ability to manage your time and manage your priorities to give you the best opportunity to be successful is key. For me now, like, it's in a situation where I obviously have to manage my family time with the hosting work, etc., and that's a different type of kind of prioritization overall. But when it was a basketball player, from a basketball perspective, it was, okay, how much time have I got to do my homework before then I'm going to go to practice? Before that, I've got to eat, and then I've got to make sure I get enough sleep, and then the next day I've got to be ready for 7 a.m. practice, and I've got to cycle there, so I've got to make sure that my bike's ready, and I've got to make sure that if I've got to catch the bus, I've got to be there on time, then I need to make my lunch ready, and all of those kind of things. Being organized is essential, and I think that is really easy to pick up bad habits and not really put into practice. But also, it's not a skill that I feel is taught well enough by basketball coaches, because I think that's always been a big thing for me when I was coaching, especially elite level kids, is that how you manage your time is going to be how successful you are. Can't be spending 24 hours every day on PlayStation. Imagine all the hours you put on PlayStation, you put those hours into your actual game. Imagine how good a player you would be, kind of thing. That's the example. I've said it a million times to so many people. So that's what I would say with those 2 things. What was the first thing you said? I can't remember. Prioritization and time management. And then the other thing was researching and going out there to find information, because it's available anywhere.
I'm so
Always try
glad
and
you
do
said that,
that.
because nobody has said those 2 answers in like those combinations, and like,
Yeah.
I fully agree with you. I appreciate you saying that. But yeah, go back to what's the best moment in your career?
Yeah. Well, first things first is having children. It put life into perspective for me.
Hey man, good dad alert. That's another thing why I respect you so much. We became fathers. We in our children's lives. We put them first more than anything. And good job,
well, listen,
man.
I got to give you props, because not that it's a big thing, but it is a thing. You were able to also adopt another man's child into your life, yes, and treat her as your own child, which takes a serious level of courage and love from a man. And then to have your own child is almost like as a reward of that. And so you can now love two children, of course, with your partner, Kerry, as well. So that, I'm over the moon for you in that situation. But having children for me, like, there was a time when Francesca, actually thought about splitting up with me at this moment in time and this situation here. She was in hospital, and I was more worried about covering or going to a coaching session than going to be with her in hospital. She was having like an appendix removal or something. And at that moment, she said to me, I should have left you there and then, like at that moment in time. But in my head, I wasn't able to compute the fact that, I'm going to let down, this coach or this school or whatever the situation is. I've got to look after my girlfriend at the time. Do you know what I mean? So, I would say having children really made me realize what was important, and being with Francesca, getting married, etc. That was really important. Help me prioritize. There's more to life than your passions. And then, the next two ones are probably, there's so many in these past couple of years when it comes to events. It's been incredible. I'm so thankful to God for the opportunity for these kind of things, right? But one of them will be the Commonwealth Games. Being part of an international sporting event is an incredible experience. And for it to be basketball and be 3x3 basketball, and for England to win gold on my birthday was like, wow, couldn't write it. Incredible. You can't write that kind of stuff. So Commonwealth Games was one. And then more recently was going to Las Vegas and hosting the Moscone Cup. It's not so much about the event, but it was the idea that I have got to a point in my development or profession that I had the opportunity to travel overseas to the States and deliver an event at that level of magnitude in Las Vegas. That for me was a life change. For me, I really, it's hard to pick one or two or three. Like, there's so many out there, life-changing moments. We all have those opportunities, but I think it is important that we take stock of those opportunities and really document them to yourself, because we sometimes don't have the opportunity to reflect on those things. Sorry, that's my last point about youth development overall. I need to go because I need to make this dinner. And it's
Listen, man. Hey,
that's the end. This last point.
Go ahead.
Last point. Go ahead. Reflection. Reflecting is key. Reflecting, looking back is key. I am terrible at it. Terrible at it. I'm always so worried about what's going to happen the next day. So worried about how I'm going to make my next move. So worried about how I'm going to be better than the next guy that I don't take enough time to step back and think, I did that. That was successful. I did this. It wasn't so successful, but the lessons I learned from that helped that to be so successful.
Right.
I had that relationship in the past with a friend or a family member, and that taught me that, I had that experience. I traveled to this country. I did this. I ate that food. I met that deuce guy. Reflection is so important. Right. For them, my brother. So yeah.
Yes. Hey, listen, that was episode 16 of the TAAP Show Live podcast. We had my brother Tahir Hajat, just an all-around good dude. The presenter of the BBL London Lions. What else titles do you have right now?
Yeah, I would say I'm just a freelance sports MC. I'm still a basketball coach. I'm a father. I'm a brother. I'm a good friend, and I'm out here to get buckets.
I love it. And you also a BBL legend. Like I said, man, I wanted to give you your flowers while you still smell them. You had as much of an impact as anybody else on lifting British basketball and putting on a good level and making it more exciting for young fans, and then just accessible to the general public out here in the UK. So
appreciate it, man.
Keep doing what you're doing, brother. I'm proud of you. Tell your family I said hello. Keep raising those beautiful kids you got, and just keep leveling up in life, man. Like I said, I'm happy where we at. We started from humble beginnings out in Leicester, and look where we at now. We're doing great things in our life, and I just hope we keep going down this positive road to just keep being bosses and, yeah, just keep leveling up in life.
Appreciate you, bro. Love you, man. Yeah. Proud of you, man.
You're a real one.
TAAPathletics.
Yeah, TAAPathletics. That's episode 16 of the TAAP Show Live podcast. I'll check in with you another time, my guy. I love you, man. Love.